impossible. Pain, fear, terror. Reconsider. Assess. Implore. Surrender.
Subdued at last, it begs for its life.
Spare me. Join me. Wield me. Become absolute.
It pleads because it knows I'm its master. I will finish this.
The brain is on the cusp of its final thought, and it's taking all of the Emperor's strength to keep it there. An opportunity, perhaps. Hopes, nightmares, and the screams of legions upon legions of unborn inipids. The pain rips through you, obliterating all thought, all feeling. Your tadpole burns in your brain. Silence. For the first time in a long time, your thoughts are entirely your own. And then, gravity. Everything you did, everything you sacrificed, it was worth it. For this.
I can't feel the tadpole. It's gone. We're free!
My powers, they're draining. Just like Mizora said they would. A small price to pay in the grand scheme of things.
It's over. It's truly over. Against all odds, we cured ourselves. Free from the parasite. Free from the prospect of ceremorphosis. I can hardly believe it. We will not become accursed illithids. Not to cast any slight on you, of course. Your form rather suits you.
It makes little difference to me. I did what I had to secure my freedom. And in spite of your resistance to evolution, you have proved a good ally.
Skvar, you may have succeeded, but I have failed. Gith's son is dead, and Vlaakith has abandoned me. I will be hunted by her Inquisition to the ends of the world. I must leave. I have nothing more to gain by being here. For you, it was under your watch that my prince was slaughtered. It is true you helped me end the Grand Design, but the path you chose has cost my people greatly. I will thank you, but I will not stay for you.
Now there's a sight to see. Not that I'll miss them.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city. Smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Giontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. The power of Karsus would be in my hands. But what then? What would I do with it once I have it? A wise suggestion. I felt a hubris once before and landed myself with this orb. I think I'd rather not make the same mistake again. If this adventure has taught me anything, it's that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. Besides, I'm growing quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mistra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts.
I'm not sure about, drink in hand, but I think we've all earned some reckless abandon. How about you? Any thoughts on what's next?
Heroically spoken. We must find an inn. Minsk has been banned from his share of alehalls, but I am sure you and Boo can speak for me.
I will not be joining you. I fear my presence will be no more welcome in the streets of the city than it ever was.
You're right, of course. But, well, I'll miss you, friend. Your companionship has been quite the education.
I will miss you, too.
Now that you no longer live in each other's minds, it's hard to tell if the mind flayer is being sincere, though perhaps no harder than it ever was.
I honestly don't mind what we do once we get to the... Ow! What the... Oh, no. Oh, God. Well, it was nice when it lasted. Ah! I'm sorry. I have to go.
It seems that's the end of Astarion's love affair with the sun. That'll be hard on him.
We did it, soldier. The city's going to be all right. And so are you. Engine's finally cooked. Held on just long enough. So, how'd I do? So are you, my friend, my companion. I adore you. Careful! Hot! I never gave up. I did my best. I did my best. It's the one thing I can't beat, isn't it? I wanted to live in my city with my friends. But life is for the living. And I saw... Goodbye, sun. Goodbye, sea. Goodbye. You can't. I thought I knew. All right. All right. But we have to go. Now. I can't hang on much longer.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid Empire, no Death God's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate.
Well, soldier, here we are. It worked. My engines calmed down. I shouldn't have let you come here. This isn't going to be easy, you know. Zariel's going to come at us with everything she's got. Gods, like clockwork. They'll be on us soon, but there's just enough time. Thought I was done with these. But then, there was you. Imps are fast, but careless. Don't let them tire you out. Just get rid of them. And don't forget, you asked for this. Better let these fuckers know I'm back. And this time, I'm not alone.
When the invitation came, you were hip-deep in Lemur's slime, swarmed by hell wasps, and about to drive the killing blow on a magma claw. Cutting through the dreadful buzz of the wasps and the screams of the damned, a familiar, comforting voice echoed in your mind. Withers, he requested your attendance in Faerun, to gather with your friends and allies, those who stood against the Absolute at your side. A reprieve from the Blood War. A few hours of respite with the stars above and good company to cheer you. Karlach's heart can take the strain of leaving Avernus for a few short hours, but it might burst with joy to see those friends again.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Oh, forgive me. I am simply excitable. It is good to be out under an open sky once more. My first, since the reconstruction began. We left quite a mess behind. But the city begins to look... Same twisting alleys for purse pickers. Same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon. Same... the upper city has been almost entirely rebuilt. That's where the gold is. Even the builder's scaffolds are cleared from the streets. No dust left to sneeze at. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Harpers. Heck, my own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist, though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. I suppose I am. I tried to steer them clear of my life's work. There is still much to do. I may have little for all your travels. I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you. Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know.
You made it! Now the revelry can truly begin.
Hello, darling. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And look at you. Straight from the hells, still reeking of brimstone. I take it you've been having fun. Understandable, but try to resist the urge. I don't want to know what your clothes have been through since we last met. Although I do like the style. Tortured armor never does go out of fashion. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder, as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it. Yes, but you say all sorts of things. Honestly, I don't even listen half the time. It has made for a nice change, though. Inspiring hope in people, instead of terror. Well, I do try to inspire a little terror. I'm still me, after all. I did at first, but then I realized these shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But that's over now. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse. That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye. So much as it's, see you later, darling.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oak Father, it is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I always do. Should I ever decline, That was more than worth the wait. Rest assured, my arms shall... Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to... In that case, our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what the old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes. And the land is, in a manner of speaking, yes. Though it is a... We welcome folk from all walks of life. Anyone who wishes for a new start. Naturally, it can be chaotic at times, but you are welcome when... Now, please, tell me all, and spare no detail. Their appetite for bedtime tales, they have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. Ha! You would ask to be tucked in next. But whatever the intrepid adventurer needed, I would have been glad to provide. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening. Quite often. They come and go as they ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods. I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking... I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must... As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found on occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. As did I, but... Amazing, of course. I could get used to this. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like... Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. Migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. He wasn't kidding. With us, you mad bastard! You brought us back! Commander Zula won't know where the fuck we went! Ha! Oh, man, I can't wait to say hi to everyone. Look at them, the beauts. Rest up, soldier. My tin can will be all right for the night. And you and me will get to sleep with both eyes shut for the first time in 6 months? Always. She's got a night in her, I think. Any trouble and I'll toddle back off to hell quick as you... Here. Oh, hey. Before you go, I've been thinking about those blueprints we found. Zariel's probably got a load of Cambions guarding that forge. I'm sure she knows I'll want in. She'll do anything to stop me from fixing this thing. I might have an in with one of the guards, though. You may remember my old... We might...
There you are.
To your relief, your projection holds. It took a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure it. You can touch, taste, and talk, but your fleshy body is in limbo, the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one with the Githyanki, until bloody civil wars severed the Gith species. The Githzerai god king Menyar Ag-Gith sent word through the cosmos. He knows of your rebellion, and he's agreed to parley. Should the Githzerai join you, you could vanquish Vlaakith in a red dragon's blink.
What's the word on the rebellion? I presume you've cracked open more Kithraki heads than you could possibly count. Diplomacy. Not so different from fighting. I'm no stranger to it myself. Bargains must be made. Still, I make the decisions I see fit. Not a devil of the first hell. Never. The hexes and eldritch blasts, losing them took getting used to. They left behind, so I stoked a new one. Now the burning comes from within me. I've had more than a few challenges, given the horn. The people know me as one of the champions who saved their beloved city. The patriarchs, the aristocracy. Still, there's no friction that can't be greased with a sly promise or a proposition. I've entrusted the Fist to Cordula Elta. Given the atrocities the Fist committed under Gortash, Bane's chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin. With a few exceptions, Eltan's pardoned every last Fist. Gortash led the Parched Fist to Bane's bloody well. Like my father, she believes in the bow and the blade. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict. May they all take it to heart. The jewel of the coast will shine ever. We are building new house. Amazing what can be done. I'm sure the Silver Shields can make do without a few disbanded. I don't expect a soldier or street sweeper to see through the... But the city's lords and ladies were all... Liara Porter is now Grand Duke of the... Cordula Eltan is the Duke of the Sea Tower. And I am Will Ravengard, Grand Duke of the Worm. We will yet be 4. Until such time, Baldur's Gate is nothing without its citizens, both in the upper and lower. Of course. Go on, the night... Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
A most welcome sight.
A night without care. No worry, no obligation.
Breathe deep, Boo! The smell of... to meet again where your journey began. Oh, and for Happy also.
Yes, honored, of course.
He is not a guest, but your newest follower. It is just this day that Happy
He dangled me from the high hall, upside down, for...
the guild should not go creeping in high places if they do not have the stomach for them, It is well for Happy the strange portal appeared when it did. Minsk's arm was growing exum. So I have. Though it is 9 fingers forbade any looting of the Illithid's fleshy vessels. And so Minsk guards what remains of the... But where Minsk might once have thrown any sneaking scoundrels from the tower top...
Yes, yes!
Oh, of course.
Oh.
But enough, my friend! I cannot tell your tale if I do not know the whole of it. Minsk and Boo... Oh, Boo, do you know... Exactly! Her heart would be cured! Fear not. We sleep in that sewer no longer. It is a different sewer, much less damp beneath the bedroom. Now, Halfling, Boo will not have you embarrassing him. Will Ravengard, the blade of Lae'zel of Creshkiller, true child of Gith, and true Astarion, who is banished by the sun itself for fear his Spanish soul might outshine it. We visit him much down in the dark places, though he of Shadowheart. 2 gods dogged at her soul, but she managed to keep it all for her. Halsin, Archdruid of some, and there, the champion of the Hells herself. Once the guild is made of good names, and finally, Jahira. If study them well, sneak thief, for the best among them will who never arrive to a. But what? Go, my friend. Be among our.
Good song, good company, good wine. I wish it could last forever.
There's something strange in your old friend's mouth. What is it? A familiar invitation. He wants you to throw the object he's dropped. But it isn't a ball. It's the astral prism. He whines. Less talk, more throw. Scratch barks merrily and some. He looks coyly at the ground, suddenly shy. He snaps the air and wiggles. He's either miming fighting a many-limbed creature or dancing. It's unclear. He is, however, exhausted. He's had plenty of adventures without you. The joy in the owlbear's eyes is clear. He longs to have a home, and Halsin is perfect.
Of course.
Ah, my dear friend. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Oh, I wouldn't bother you with such things during a party. And you might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Me? Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you... Ah, your success. But you mustn't let me hog your attention.
After everything, this feels nice. A chance to take a breath, metaphorically speaking. After...
I learned much under these very skies. Such pleasure to see you once more.
Those hands were full considered, lest you become the finger food.
There you are. Starting to wonder if you'd show up. You can say that with a straight face after all the times I had to come to your aid. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. Chilled out and healthy is what I was going for. Don't tell me you miss living off whatever scraps we found in crates and barrels. I'm glad you seem well. I had no doubt. But I'm glad to hear you say it all the same. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. God, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. We had tea on his balcony. Tara even deigned to sit on my lap for a while. You know, I think entire forests must have been felled to quench that man's thirst for books. He seems to be doing well. In his element. I don't know. Which is just the way I like it just now. Perhaps I'd like to see the islands, maybe, or head south to Arm. I heard there's an enclave of werecats that hunt the followers of dark gods by moonlight. I'd love, but enough about me. What have you been up to? I'm glad you two have each other. Hells, I'd be almost tempted to come along if you'd have me. Hopefully, these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. Don't remind me. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together. Don't be a stranger.
Perhaps the bard knows some of my favorites. Unless my taste in music is too antique, of course.
After everything...
My friend, the Hellswalker. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head.
Limbo, she'd said. A plane of chaos where you might drink fire like water. Where you might breathe, and the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once the Githzerai were one of the Githyan.
We've spilled blood, gained Zerith Minyara.
Zerith Minyara Gith. You've heard the name.
Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to Minyara. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance. My blade is keen as ever, but it was you who showed sometimes a sincere... Minyara Gith is an ascetic. And if he refuses, I am the comet. My people. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part. I suppose it is. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents. Worth it, I'd say. I'm more to the point. But I'll be back to see you again when the comet has risen.
It truly is splendid to see everyone gathered together again. If only... Do you truly even need to up? And I did promise the children I would bring them back as a surprise.
I've missed wine. Had to resort to making my own cider recently, which isn't bad, don't get me wrong. But a girl can't have fun with apples alone. You might be onto something there, though the name might need work. Always. That hit the spot. Don't be a stranger.
Why are you looking at me so? I'm enjoying my... The man just makes friends where... Or perhaps follow him.
We shall conclude with...
It's so...
This one night is like thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate. Until such time it requires saving again. I am pleased to hear. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest what indeed. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself. But for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving. To you. There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou sought to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, Yet thou hast proven thyself fools, everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel. Felled by mortals, I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.